other outdoor recreational equipment, tickets to museums and concerts and everything under the sun. So we want people to be able to enjoy the summer and the month of July, so take advantage of that. That runs the entire month of July, and it'll save Floridians probably close to $200 million just on those sales. So we're happy to be able to get that done. We're also happy to be able to say we're going to talk about some of the things we're doing with Northwest Florida in terms of our awards that we're going to be giving. But we did the budget a couple weeks ago. Our budget has a record, so it actually is a reduction in spending year over year. How many people are reducing spending in this country? Not very many, certainly not the guys in Washington. But even though we're reducing spending, reducing taxes, doing all that, we had the biggest investment ever in education, but also in transportation and roads and infrastructure. Really, really robust. And part of the reason that we had that was because I looked about a year or two ago and said, okay, you know, all these people are moving to Florida. I'm not asking anybody to move to Florida. Like, they're coming because there are bad policies. Other places are forcing them. So we've got a lot of growth, and we led the nation in net in migration, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. Well, we need to make sure that we're getting ahead of things when it comes to particularly the roads, because the roads get very crowded. So we launched a program called Moving Florida Forward, where we said, okay, you have this work plan, and our Department of Transportation's ranked very highly. We're one of the top 5 states for roads year after year. And if you compare us to, like, New York, you go to New York, first of all, their budget's twice the size of ours. They tax and tax. But if you just drive around the boroughs of New York City, the amount of money you spend in tolls is unbelievable. I mean, you could spend $40, $50 in tolls just by driving to and from those areas. And yet, those roads are bumpy, dilapidated. I mean, you get like motion sickness going over these things. It's terrible. So we're proud of that. But, you have all these projects that are kind of in the hopper. So there's a plan to this. And, it's done partially through our department. Sometimes the legislature put their thumb on the scale. But we have things that we know need to be done. And I was just like, well, why would we wait 10 years to start a project that we know we need to do? So we did a big infusion, many billions of dollars for Moving Florida Forward. We've been able to accelerate projects, and we're going to be able to deliver these projects 5 years, 7 years, in some cases 10 years ahead of when they were originally scheduled. So that's going to make a big, big difference. And so up in Northwest Florida, we've got the Interstate 10 widening from 9 Mile Road interchange, 4 to 6 lanes. That's going to be over $160 million. It's going to be an actual innovative way to have the traffic flow. We'll announce the dates on that, but it's going to be done much quicker than it otherwise would have been. And also in Bay County, the widening of US 98 Back Beach Road, that's a 5-mile widening. And this was not even supposed to start until next decade. Now it's going to be completed by the end of 2027. So this is something that's going to be very, very meaningful. We also have a major project here in Escambia County where we're going really by the Alabama line and the exchange there, $230 million. So that's a huge, huge thing for widening, and we're just happy to be able to do it. But it does make a difference, and we know that that's something that needs to be done. Well, I'm happy to be here today, and joining us, we have our Florida Commerce Secretary, Alex Kelly. We have our great Senator, Doug Broxson. We have Representatives Abbott and Salzman, President of Pensacola State College, Dr. Meadows, Jackson County Commission Chair, Paul Donofrio, City of Defuniak Springs Mayor Bob Campbell, and Santa Rosa County Commission Chairman Sam Parker. We're also pleased to be able to be joined by members from Jackson, Defuniak Springs, and Santa Rosa counties. We're going to be doing awards for all of those areas. And we're fortunate to be in Florida. I think we've outpaced the nation in having lower unemployment for like almost the past 4 years, like the last 3+ years. We have grown. If you look when I came office into 2019, if you compare the first quarter of 2019 to the present, the U.S. economy as a whole grew about 11%. Florida's has grown 22%. So we doubled economic growth compared to what happened in the nation as a whole. And I mentioned we have a budget that we're actually reduced spending, big budget surplus, and we're using that to pay down debt. So we now have the lowest per capita state debt of any state in the United States. So we're built really for the long haul. We're showing how it's done, and we want to continue with that momentum. Now, one of the things that we've done, and we're also ranked, we're ranked #1 for new business formations. We're ranked #1 for talent development. We are going to be #1 in workforce education by the end of this decade. We're on a very good trajectory there. Our public university system is ranked #1 in America. That's 6 years in a row. And even overall education, U.S. News and World Reports ranked Florida #1 for the last 2 years. And that was not the case if you go back 20, 25 years ago. So we've got a lot going, and we understand that there's a lot of need. So one of the things that we are able to do with, thanks to the legislature providing funding for our job growth grant fund, it used to be government would kind of like, give companies money and incentives. That really doesn't work because, you're, as an executive branch, you're not a venture capital firm. You're running the executive branch. And so to pick and choose one company or another to invest in didn't necessarily work. But I think what people recognize is a need to be able to support targeted infrastructure projects that can lead to job growth and business formation and development, and workforce education opportunities that will lead to students being able to not only do well for themselves, but also fill critical needs that we have in our economy here in the state of Florida. So the awards we're doing today are targeted at both the workforce and the infrastructure elements, and these are projects where we're pulling a lot of rope on some. Others, you have locals that are doing a lot. It's a combination. So the first award, and we're here, of course, in Pensacola State College, I'm pleased to be able to award $4.4 million to Pensacola State College to establish a new airframe and power plant mechanics program. Now, this program provides an opportunity to train more Floridians to work in the aviation and aerospace industry. This is an industry that's doing very well in the state of Florida. We've got over 130,000 aviation and aerospace jobs. Of course, we have 20 commercial airports, and we're the only state with 4 major airport hubs: Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, Tampa. And this funding will support the construction of a new hangar, training equipment, and operating costs at Pensacola Airport, where the education will take place. And so we think there's a great opportunity in Northwest Florida with the college here, but also with a lot of the folks that come through here in the military. And as they leave the military, these are great opportunities for them as well. So this is really significant. We know that this area is synonymous with naval aviation, and we want to continue to build off the aviation theme here in Northwest Florida. The second award is $3 million to the city of Defuniak Springs to complete the final phase of the construction of the Defuniak Springs Airport. So this will be 2 6,400 square foot hangars, 1 10,000 square foot hangar, a taxiway, an access road, and associated utilities. This will allow the airport to handle a greater number of travelers, as well as new companies looking to perform research and advance air mobility, advanced aviation asset utilizing electrical vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. This is estimated to produce 500 new jobs and is estimated to have a positive impact of $12.3 million. But people will definitely use this airport with this expanded capacity. And finally, we're awarding $4.6 million to Jackson County to complete the construction of a 1.3-mile 2-lane road and associated utility connections from State Road 276 to Old Air Base Road. This will provide access to a planned housing development of at least 250 single-family homes. Project will create at least 400 new jobs and has an estimated impact of $12.5 million. This award also builds on the more than $23 million in strategic investments in Jackson County. We've done $15 million through the Rural Infrastructure Fund, $7 million through the Broadband Opportunity Program, and $1.5 million through the Florida Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program. So that's been really, really significant, and we're proud that they're going to be able to use this money to improve their infrastructure. And then finally, since I'm here, I'm pleased today to announce a special award of $500,000 in Defense Infrastructure Grant to Santa Rosa County for the Whiting Aviation Park Security Fence Project. This project will create a secure double-entry gate system, which will connect the field to the aviation park. Will also allow aircraft to move safely and efficiently between the base and maintenance area, which will enhance security and maintenance operations. This is something that I think will really, really be positive. So we're excited about this. What I want to do, going to hear from a couple other folks in a minute, but I want to present the checks. And so we'll start with the one here for Pensacola. So whoever from Pensacola State wants to come up and accept, we can go ahead and get this done. All right, next we will do Defuniak Springs, 3 million smackers. Come on up. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yep. Congratulations. Congrats. Yep. Congratulations. All right. Okay, there you go. All right, thank you. Yeah. All right, Jackson County.
Very good.
Congrats. Thank you. Congratulations. Yeah, absolutely.
Down in front, purple.
All right.
Thank you.
Santa Rosa. All right, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a pretty good day's work. I hope you all are excited about this, and we're going to hear from some folks. So we'll start with our Florida Commerce Secretary, Alex Kelly.
Well, thank you, Governor, and thank you for your support and leadership in making these investments in Florida's great Northwest. Thank you, President Meadows and Pensacola State College for hosting us today to see a bunch of friends from the great Northwest. Shannon, I think for that investment there in Santa Rosa County, I think you practically kidnapped me in your car until we figured that one out and talked that one out. But seriously, no, Governor, thank you so much. These investments in Florida's Panhandle communities. They're really special, and actually I go back to when we were kind of learning about some of these grant applications and working with some of the communities to hone these requests. And actually, it was some meetings we actually had here in Escambia and then in Santa Rosa with leaders from both counties. We were a day or two later. Actually, I guess a day later, we were over in Jackson County, and one of the things that was true about all of these investments, Governor, is that they're not just important for the immediate community that's getting the investment, but they're really drawing from the employment base around these communities. So they're really creating a value add that crosses county lines, that crosses city lines. And Governor, these investments all really fit with your strategy that we're seeing work time and time again throughout the state. And you covered it, so I won't do the deep dive, but it's a strategy based based around talent development, around workforce education, around ready, modern infrastructure that's welcoming to business and job creators, infrastructure that also connects, as in the case with the Jackson County project, infrastructure that connects those major employment sectors to those major workforce housing sectors, so that obviously a community can really tap into the full talents of their workforce. And all of those things really make Florida and the communities that we're celebrating here today incredibly attractive financially, from a point of view of business, industry, job creation, small business creation, companies that want to move here, looking and saying these communities are ready, they're creating the workforce, they're creating the infrastructure, and they're ready for job creation in a sustainable way that really can be supported for many years from now. You know, Governor, you mentioned the Pensacola State College Award. You know, the team here in Pensacola and Escambia County is doing a phenomenal job attracting interest from the aviation and aerospace industries, but that doesn't work if you don't have the workforce. So this is, you know, President Meadows and team, this is a proposal all built around making sure that you have a ready workforce for those pursuits. You know, the team over in Santa Rosa, the project, the gate, and related infrastructure between Whiting Aviation and Whiting Field. The team in Santa Rosa has done a great job in the last couple years attracting Leonardo helicopters to Santa Rosa County, and to really maximize the value of that, there needs to be that close collaboration between Whiting Aviation and Whiting Field. And so this is just a great common sense proposal to really do that. You know, the Defunac Springs, you know, investment, as the governor mentioned, you know, a big piece of this is focused around research and development for advanced air mobility. That's an emerging field, but it's one that's not going to emerge overnight, and having a foothold in research and development and having some ownership right here in Florida's Great Northwest is so critically important. I just want to give a couple thank yous. Space Florida was a big help in partnership with both the project here for Pensacola State College and also the project in Santa Rosa County. And then Florida's Great Northwest. Florida's Great Northwest took us around to 3 of the 4 communities that we're celebrating today, and many others, to really make sure that we had a really deep, rich understanding of how the vision here connected with your vision, Governor, for, you know, workforce, infrastructure, and connecting communities to be successful. So again, thank you, Governor, and thank you to all of you for these great projects and great endeavors, and we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Okay, Dr. Meadows.
Well, Governor, welcome to Pensacola State College, and to the staff, the governor's staff, and all of the guests out here, and certainly to the recipients of these grants. The job growth grant that was mentioned earlier was an initiative of Space Florida, and Josh Pickett and Scott Luth contacted us and said there was a possibility to get some of the governor's job growth funds for this project. We have multiple partners with this project. The first $1 million for equipment was brought to my attention by Shannon Ogletree in Santa Rosa County, and Santa Rosa and Pensacola State had Senator Broxson and Michelle Salzman and Jerry Williamson when he was in the legislature, as well as Alex Andrade, who helped secure $1 million for equipment. So that was the first part of this. And then we partnered with Triumph Gulf Coast, and I think David Bear is here representing Triumph. There he is right there as the chairman. A huge amount of support for the A&P program. And in addition to that, the City of Pensacola and the Airport Authority. I've seen several people here, Alex Smith and Erica, that are representing the mayor here today, that we've worked tirelessly with to make sure that we found a way to be at the airport next to Hangar 3, which will allow our students, military, exiting military for veterans, as well as high school students doing dual enrollment, and the general population that pursue these well-paying jobs. And we have Bill Hafner here from ST Engineering. They have committed $5 million over a 10-year period to sustain this program. So this has been an exceptional partnership, and particularly again Senator Brox and Michelle Salzman and Alex Andrade. They helped us shepherd through PICO funds for this project as well. There are others that I'm forgetting to mention on this, but I've got to tell you one thing is that, you know, good things happen together, and our community in Northwest Florida has pulled together and worked tirelessly with the public and the private sectors to make this program possible. So a 25,000 square foot facility next to Hangar 3 will do more than just teach the A&P mechanics, but other advanced certifications in the aviation field. And we're so much looking forward to this endeavor to help do our share and fulfill our mission of providing high-paying jobs, training. For our dean and our faculty that miss getting to come up and take the picture, we will take the picture before they take the flags down of all of you with a big check, all right? Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Paul Donifro, Jackson County.
Good morning. Governor, I bring from Jackson County greetings, and I want to tell you that our citizens are truly appreciative of the work that you're doing as the governor to make the state of Florida a safer place to live and work, a better place to live and work, and a better place for our children for us to raise our children and grandchildren. So thank you for that very much. As you so eloquently said, this job growth grant that we're receiving today will go a long ways in helping us with economic development in Jackson County. As you know, and Secretary Kelly knows, two of the things that we battle in our attempts to be successful in economic development is workforce housing, attainable housing, affordable housing, whatever you want to call it, and also our workforce. And through this job growth grant, we're going to be able to pave the western end of Pusher Road, which will pay immediate dividends in the development of a new business at the intersection of Pusher Road and Highway 276, which will immediately create about 30 jobs. But more importantly, as you stated, this will allow us to move forward with the new housing development that'll be developed on the property of Endeavor, which Secretary Kelly and his staff visited not too long ago. This will allow us to develop a portion of that Endeavor property for approximately 250 housing units, which will go a long ways in helping us provide quality workforce, attainable, affordable housing for our workforce, which will also be increased by that. So for that, we're very appreciative. We're very appreciative to all of the people in Jackson County, our staff, David Melvin's group, everybody that's worked hard towards putting this grant application together. We'll put those dollars to good use, and we look forward to seeing that road paved and the new housing development come in short order. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, Shane Abbott.
I want to echo everybody's sentiment in saying thank you, Governor, for all that you've done for Northwest Florida, and especially today bringing those wonderful checks to our area. I won't be long because you are not here to listen to me, but I want to. I want to hope everybody here is as thankful as I am to live in the greatest state in the nation, and. And have the greatest governor in the nation. So, there's a reason why Florida ranks at the top or near the top of every category in economic development, and it's because of your leadership and your vision and your willingness to invest. That is a big part. A lot of folks can talk about developing stuff, but you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you have done that, and we thank you for that. It goes back to even 2020 during the COVID-19 mandates. We were all locked down, businesses were struggling, individuals were struggling, and you opened up the state. You saved thousands of businesses and hundreds of thousands of employees' jobs. And so we thank you. You did that because you cared about your citizens. So I want to begin with saying thank you for caring about your citizens, and I'll finish with saying thank you for caring about your citizens. Workforce development is one of the key pieces in making our area successful. That is, a trained workforce is probably the #1 attractant to businesses in our area right now. And so as we continue to develop that, we become extremely competitive in that way and in that nature. So thank you again for those, your consistent infrastructure and workforce development investments. I want to thank you again for caring about your citizens. As a member of the Panhandle delegation, sometimes we have a little trouble competing for businesses and jobs with a neighboring state, but with your investments, we've become more competitive each day, and we thank you for that. So again, thank you for caring about our area.
Great. Well, thanks, everybody. We're happy to be able to deliver these awards. I think it'll be very meaningful for Northwest Florida. I also just want to make a couple comments. Last week, the Supreme Court issued a decision in a case that, overturned a doctrine called Chevron deference. And, the long and short of it is not to get bogged down in technical details, but who ultimately governs our society? And the outcry on the left over the repeal of Chevron or the overruling of Chevron really shows how they view society. And those of us who welcome the decision to overrule Chevron, we believe in, I think, a conception of government that our founding fathers envisioned. When you have a bureaucracy that acts against you, and if they're doing it in a way they don't have authority, you have a right to go and bring a lawsuit to challenge that, because sometimes people's livelihoods are at stake on this. They can impose punishing fines. There's a lot of things that this big, powerful bureaucracy can do. So the question is if they're coming at you and they're wrong on the law, do you have an ability to go in the court and have the court say, you know what, you're right on the law, and rule for you and give you relief? Or do you do this Chevron deference, which says, well, it doesn't really matter if you're actually right on the law. We are going to defer to what these experts in the bureaucracy think the law means or the regulation should mean. These are people that are not elected. These are people that are not accountable. These are people that are, quite frankly, wrong about a lot of things. And so Chevron deference really empowered the administrative state. It empowered the bureaucracy, and it's helped the bureaucracy grow to the extent that it has, really uninterrupted for many, many decades. And so what this does is this puts on a better foundation the separation of powers. You go into court, you have a right to have that court apply the law as it's written. And if that means you win and the bureaucrats lose, then that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way it should be. So that was a really good decision. But the people that were carping about it, they want to have a rule by unelected, unaccountable, bureaucratic so-called experts. That's who they think should govern society, and they want to insulate them from any type of accountability. And that's just fundamentally not the way our Constitution was designed. It wasn't what our founding fathers envisioned. And yes, this is just one piece. I mean, part of the reason the bureaucracy's grown so big is because Congress doesn't exercise its constitutional authority to rein it in. They don't like writing laws that are precise. They don't ever use the power of the purse. And ultimately, that's going to be the most effective thing, that can be done. But this was an important step. And people say, oh, well, how could you not have bureaucrats or experts be deferred to? You know what? If bureaucracy acts against you, you go and sue, you win. If Congress doesn't like that outcome, they can always rewrite the law, and then you can hold them accountable to ballot box. That's the way this is supposed to be. So that was a good decision. I know there's going to be some more decisions that are come out later today, but I do think that that's something that will make a meaningful difference for those of us who believe that the federal bureaucracy is out of control, that it's unaccountable, and that it's outside the proper understanding of constitutional boundaries. The other thing I would say is, I had a really uncomfortable feeling sitting in front of the TV watching that debate on Thursday night. Here's it was literally 4 or 5 minutes in, and it was painful to watch Joe do that. But the issue is now you have some of these media people saying, that he should not run and all this other stuff when they knew that this is how he was. You compare him to 2019, to that debate, it's been a really significant decline. And the idea that that decline is going to stop, that somehow you can make it to age 86, given the trajectory, is a joke. And everybody knows that's a joke. A lot of these people in the media, they decided to try to paper that over to try to get him across the finish line. Well, what happened on Thursday was people saw with their own eyes. And so they're not going to be able to gaslight that. They're not going to be able to whitewash it. And I think they understand that. So now they're saying in some quarters, and important quarters, hey, he should step aside. He's not up to the job. But understand, they're only saying that not because they have any problem with having a president that has cognitive limitations and is in cognitive decline. They are perfectly willing to let the executive branch be run by a bunch of these staffers, these left-wing staffers who none of us elected, and they're totally fine to have a weekend at Bernie's presidency part 2. They are totally fine with that. The reason why they're calling for that is not because they think it's important that a president can actually discharge the functions. No. They're calling for it because that scene was so jarring that they understand he's going to lose. And so they want to be able to try to get someone else in there that will carry out their agenda. But they really don't care. If that debate had gone a different way and somehow people thought that he would win, they would not say a word, because ultimately it's all just about retaining power and having power exercise in consistent with their ideological agenda. So this is not something that was shocking to, I think, most of us who have been watching, but we have had for years. We've had people in corporate media try to tell us that what we'd see with our own eyes really wasn't the truth. Oh, it was just a bad day. Oh, it's a style this. But then when you were there and just watched for 90 minutes, it's like, you know, pretty much anyone that saw that knew what the issue is. But if they could do it, if they honestly thought that he would be able to win under those circumstances, they would be totally fine with that. It's just because they understand that the jig is up and the American people are onto it, and it is something that's going to make a really significant difference. Okay, great to be here. Thanks, everybody. God bless.